The aroma of football is in the air. Some high schools have already started regular season contests, and everybody else will begin in the next couple of weeks. Now, before everyone might start hating on these rankings, keep in mind that these are the computer rankings, so let's break it down region by region. And hey, it's 100 times better than the BCS. Since Straight Outta Compton was a huge box office success this past weekend, let's head out to the West Coast first, and checking in as the #1 team in the computer rankings are the Gales from Bishop Gorman. They're coming off their 6th consecutive state title and an undefeated season in 2014, and they could be in line to repeat once again in 2015. Now, if you haven't seen my guy Tate Martell on the football field, you are missing out. The 5'11", 180-pound quarterback checks in as the Fetty Wap of dual threat QBs because he's the top-rated dog in the 2017 class and is the 12th rated player overall, according to 247's composite rankings. With Alizé Jones and Cordell Broadus both graduating after last year, that just means more touches for Ty John Lindsay. The 5'9", 160-pound wide receiver is one of the best playmakers in the country. He's already received offers from USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and a handful of other primetime D1 programs. The #3 rated wide receiver, according to 247's composite rankings, balled out for nearly 1,000 yards receiving in 2014, averaging 26 yards per grab, and he's one of the best punt returners in the game. Let's take a quick glance at the 2nd rated team from the West Coast, and this might surprise some people, but it is not De La Salle. It is the Lancers from Bishop Amat High School. One of the key factors in Amat getting the edge in the computer rankings is because they play in a tougher league. And boy, there not be a better wide receiver tandem in all of high school football than Tyler Vaughn's and USC commit Trevon Sidney. Vaughn checks in as the #2 wide receiver in the 2016 class on 247's composite rankings, and his boy Sidney checks in at #11 among all wideouts. From the West Coast to the Jersey Shore, let's zone in on the Northwest region, and checking in at #1 are the Crusaders from Bergen Catholic. According to our computer rankings, they are the #14 team overall, and they have one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the game in Tennessee commit Jarrett Guarantano. He checks in as the 2nd best dual-threat QB in the 2016 class, and a name to keep tabs on is incoming freshman Josh McKenzie, who is probably the most hyped freshman in the Jersey area since Jabril Peppers, and the scary thing is he might be an even better wrestler than football player, and he's drawn a lot of comparisons to former Bergen Catholic football and wrestling star Brian Cushing. And speaking of Mr. Peppers, his former high school, no, not Don Bosco Prep, but Paramus Catholic checks in at #2 in the Northwest region. The Paladins are 2 spots behind Bergen Catholic on the national computer rankings at #16, but one thing the Crusaders can't say is they have the top-rated player in the entire class. Paramus Catholic, 6'4", 310-pound, 5-star defensive tackle, is an absolute monster on the football field, and his strong showing at the opening only helps solidify his #1 billing atop 247 Sports. Let's stroll down the coast and head down to the south, and the boys from Bradenton, Florida check in at #1, and they also own the top spot on the national computer rankings. Saying Img Academy is loaded with talent is an understatement. According to 247's composite rankings, they have 4 of the top 14 players in the entire 2016 class. Shea Patterson, the transfer from Calvary Baptist, checks in as the top-rated QB in the entire class, and Isaac Nada, the transfer from Buford, checks in as the top-rated tight end among all participants in the 2016 class. And on defense, they're led by 5-star cornerback Savion Smith, who is one of the best all-around playmakers in the game. And boy, Shavar Manuel is an absolute nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. During his junior season at Blake High School last year, he balled out for 20 sacks. The #2 team in the South is a familiar foe in St. Thomas Aquinas, who check in at #2 in the national computer rankings. The Oakland Raiders now have one of the best playmakers in the game and former Alabama star Amari Cooper, and the same could be said for these Raiders because my man Sam Bruce is one of the most exciting guys in the business. The Miami commit checks in as the 5th best receiver on 247's composite rankings, and the 5'8", 180-pound wideout is poised for a big-time campaign in 2015. Okay, I can hear Texas getting mad already, so let's head out to the Southwest region. And the team with the 5th longest active winning streak owns the top spot. And for all of you who said Allen, Texas, go ahead and pat yourselves on the back. the Eagles have reeled off 43 consecutive wins and became the only football program in Texas to win 3 consecutive D1 championships in the state's largest classification. But this year, they will have to keep it going without the reigning Gatorade Medal Athlete of the Year in Kyler Murray. A lot of pressure will fall on the right shoulder of Seth Green, who transferred from East Ridge, and he brings a lot of accolades with him from Minnesota. He checks in as the number 7 dual threat QB in the 2016 class, and he's already committed to ball for the Oregon Ducks in 2016. And lastly, one guy that will make his job a lot easier is their monster 5-star offensive tackle, Greg Little, who checks in as the number 2 overall recruit in the class, according to 247's composite rankings. The second-rated team from the Southwest is another Texas squad, and that's the boys from Manville, Texas. They check in at number 20 in the preseason Excellent 25 rankings, number 9 in the National Computer rankings, and they finished last year 13-1 with their lone loss coming to Texas powerhouse Katy in the UIL Texas 6A D2 quarterfinals. I mean, this team is so good, even their backup quarterback is already committed to ball in the SEC, as Kyle Trask recently committed to the Florida Gators. And their number 1 quarterback isn't too shabby either. De'Aaron King is one of the best all-around athletes in the country. He's amassed 137 total touchdowns in his career so far, and the TCU commit is one of the most exciting players to watch on Friday nights. All right, let's check out our last region, and that's the Midwest. Coming in at number 1 are the boys from Cincinnati, Ohio, LaSalle High School. They check in at number 10 overall in our National Computer rankings and are the reigning Division II state champs, and they balled in the playoffs, outscoring their opposition 239-91. The number 2 squad from the Midwest plays out in Indiana, and that is the Greyhounds from Carmel High School. Last year, they finished the season 15-1 with their lone loss coming in the 6A state title game to Ben Davis. They had one of the best defenses in the country last year, allowing less than 14 points per game, and Kevin Wright should have his boys primed for another big-time campaign in 2015.